He has been in many workshops over the years and is returning to SF State this semester as a master's candidate. Yes.
Yeah, whatever you say.
Yes, and we're so happy to have him here tonight. And let's all just stop listening to me and give him a big old welcome. Jason Wimbish. I'm super impressed. I had a workshop with Jason before, and he has shared his fiction, which has been beautiful. But here tonight, you're going to do poetry as well.
A little bit.
You had many talents. So, yeah, do it. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. It's pretty honor to be here. It's my first time officially reading.
Yay!
And so it's awesome what you guys have done. And everybody who's already read that I've heard tonight, really awesome. Pleasure to be able to hear everything that you've read. And to the readers that I didn't get a chance to hear tonight, I'm sure it was just as awesome. So I hope to hear from you guys later on at a class. So. I'm going to read it on my phone as well. I'm going to read a couple short stories from my collection and perhaps a poem if we have some time. So, all right. This first piece is entitled "The Kill Box." First, check your gear, your guns. Next, check them again. You're ready now. Keep your head on a swivel. Everything over here is dangerous to you. Don't think about the one that calls you husband. Feelings are too much of a distraction right now. Stay focused. Notice that barrel of the rifle slightly sticking out of the upper floor window of a nearby building. You're 10 o'clock. Call out sniper a half second before the shooting starts. Return fire. Take cover. Watch the best friend you came into the fold with take a bullet for you. Return fire. Drag his body past your fallen brothers. Hold him tight as he makes his way to Valhalla. Call in air support. You're not going home. Not today. Not today. Stateside, answer the examiner's questions about being one of the few in your unit to survive the ambush with the usual, "It's what we signed up for." Maintain eye contact. Be direct. Use "ma'am." You're fine. She will know you're lying, but will respect that you need to be clear, fit for duty. It's how you cope. Now repeat. Go home. You've done enough. Hug the one that calls you husband. She was once your friend. She is now. Lay still next to her. Though your nightmares will keep you vigilant for nights to come, your presence finally allows her rest from the sleepless nights prior. Keep your head on a swivel. Socialize with the civilians you used to know. Go to cookouts and smile. Make sure you laugh. You don't really find the joke funny, but you need your friends to not be afraid of you. Fit in. Pretend this is still the country you fought for. Ignore the criticizing glances from the judgmental. Feel the tension. There are just too many hands to keep an eye on. Search for an exit. Focus. Deep breaths. From the distance, hear the one that calls you husband. She calmly approaches where you can see her and calls to you softly. Breathe long and deep. She will gently place her arm under yours and drag your body to safety. Go with her. She has taken a bullet for you. Hold her tight. Call her wife. Now repeat. This next piece is entitled Bruised Fruit. Between the rhythmic swing and connect of her fist to my face, I remember hearing one of the girls in the crowd shout, "Damn! I didn't know a girl's face could do that. It looks so pulpy." She said my face looked pulpy. I'm sure it did. All blue and swollen. At least that's the way it felt. The more Big Liz hit me, the more it went from feeling like cinder block against glass to concrete thrown against moist sand. There was still that hard thud on impact, but now there was the squish and ooze of her knuckles sinking in and pushing my pulp immediately followed. The punches may have looked like they were random, but it felt like precision timing. Pulp, belly, belly, pulp, pulp. I tried my best to keep standing and protect myself, but at some point it just didn't matter. I went down. Fists turned into feet. The cheers of fight, fight, fight turned into oohs and ohs. I looked up and caught Liz looking directly in the one eye that wasn't swollen shut. She gave me a nod. You know, when you get to middle school, you have to quickly learn that survival depends on one thing: being able to adapt. You have to learn the rules of the school, its schedule, its life. Like, if the school bell rings and you're not where you need to be, chances are you're in big trouble. But there are other rules, unwritten codes, that every student just has to know. Like, don't ever, ever, under any circumstances, cross Big Liz. Like, if you see her, look away. If she is in the hall that you need to go down by yourself, it's probably a good idea to take the scenic route. Big Liz was Big Liz for a reason. Elizabeth Cooper was a giant to the rest of us. I mean, like, freakishly taller and stockier than any middle schooler should be allowed to be. But she wasn't just big, she was strong. Like, when she hit you, you went home for the day. Well, actually you went to the nurse's office until you woke up, and then you went home. She always reminded us just how strong she was by picking her victims at random, like Lucky Lucy. Well, Liz got a hold of her, swung her around by her preppy pigtails, and let's just say she now wears a buzz cut and everyone just calls her Lou. I knew all of this, so you can imagine the tangerine-sized lump in my throat when I decided to take a bathroom break just before the end of class and found myself alone in the girls' room face to face with Liz. She looked at me and I felt an instant cold wash over my body. "Hey," she says, "you've never given me any shit, so I'm really sorry I have to do this." I hear the bell ring, and I try to force my dry throat to swallow before I respond. "What do you mean?" Then Liz does something I didn't even know was possible for her. She starts to cry. She rolls up her sleeves, and I see so many bruises and scars, and she lifts up her shirt, and the bruises just continue over her back. I figured she'd been in a lot of fights, but I ask anyway. What happened? "This is what my dad does," she says. "I have to beat up kids because every time I do, I get suspended. And if I get suspended enough times, I'll get expelled, and then maybe they'll move me out of the district, which means maybe I can get placed with another family, a better one." And I didn't know what to say. I just knew I wasn't so scared anymore. She continued, "I just need one more. I need you. All the teachers like you, they'll take it personal. It has to be you. I'm sorry." And then I got it. We both stood there, looking at each other, looking at the floor, not speaking a word. You know, when you get to middle school, you learn that survival depends on that one thing, being able to adapt. So I forced my shoulders back, attempting to muster a little confidence, and said, okay, let's make sure it counts. And that's how I got here. I looked up and I caught Liz looking directly in the one eye that wasn't swollen shut. She gave me a nod, and I managed to wink just as the teachers rushed in to pull her off and drag her away. No one else saw that she looked back at me, because she never really looked back at anyone. But I saw her. Elizabeth Cooper. Let's see. All right, let's try and change gears a little bit. This one is called Relief. So, what's the protocol for this? I must have sounded like a complete idiot trying to stammer out this question while standing underneath the warm water with my knees beginning to cross. No, of course that wasn't the question that I wanted to ask, needed to ask, but I couldn't just lead with that. I had to, warm up to it. I just kind of didn't have that much time because I was beginning to feel that little tingle, and though I wasn't quite at the point of shifting from side to side like I was a child, if I continued to let that tension build, things could, without proper warning, become problematic. And I guess it might have been awkward in the space that we were both sharing. However, I just wasn't getting the responses that I needed in order to nudge the conversation in that direction. So I asked again, well, do you do it? Still, nothing. And feeling like I was being toyed with in a moment of complete desperation as I sensed my time rapidly running out, I shot straight to the point, to the question that I had been wanting to ask, in a manner that could have arguably been considered as aggressive. But you have to understand what was at stake. I was under a lot of pressure, and it kind of felt like life or death. Finally, I was given permission, and reluctantly, I might add. So I allowed myself a moment, just a moment. This moment was fleeting, as our subsequent silence was devoured in the music of a trickle that was only the slightest bit different from the rhythm of the shower water falling against the tub. I felt my cheeks turning all shades of red. I hummed a little, hoping to distract his attention from the sounds I was sure he had to have heard, as I was already a little awkward about having to face the idea that, yes, women do this too. And right now, I was that woman. Then I was done. I halfway expected some sort of reassurance, some comment to let me know that things weren't as awkward as I thought they were. But you know what he says? This man that I had sex with, this man that I had spent so much time with, he says, "Did you eat asparagus?" the last thing I will do is tonight is read this poem that actually it came about from something that Austin actually forced me to do, which is kind of step out of my comfort zone a little bit in terms of creativity. So thank you, sir. And I will leave you with this. Any voyager may be lost at sea, in the frozen skull cap of the world, where the railway track curves out of a willow. Her pursed mouth like a half-eaten plum. Death, she said, had always been a room in her house, and it was a room she'd been furnishing all her life. So in the basement of an art gallery in Chinatown, I blew colors. I had nothing to offer anyone except my own confusion. It is the human breath that, in the truest sense of the word, breathes life into the cave.